Hari Om Swamiji. I have a question. Can we objectively see God, like have Ishwar Darshan?
That's a very interesting question. Can we objectively see God? Can we objectively have Ishwar Darshan? To understand this, we need to understand two things first. First of all, what do we understand by the word see? To see something. When we say to see something, we can see something from two different dimensions. One is, I can see something physically. I can see this table, I can see this room, I can see the trees, the plants, the sun. In this manner, I can see something through my sense organs, the eyes. I objectively perceive something. And a second dimension to seeing something is seeing something through the intelligence, through some intellectual discrimination and awakening in knowing something. That is another dimension to seeing something. My body is functioning, I'm living. This alone shows that there is something inside my body which is functioning in a very, very complete manner, in a very healthy manner. My heart is pumping, my heart is circulating the blood in the right manner, my kidneys are functioning normally, and various other things we see in life which we cannot see objectively, but we know that there is something going on. We can see through our understanding. There is an awakening into it that something is there which I am able to see through my intellect. This is another dimension of seeing it. Now, can we see God? For that matter, we cannot categorically say that yes, I can see God objectively. Because if one could see God objectively as an object, then the question wouldn't arise. And neither can we say that we cannot see God. To understand this, we have to understand what is God, who is God. Our scriptures reveal. For us, the scriptures, the Vedas, the Shabda Pramana, they are the means of knowledge, the ultimate means of knowledge. They reveal to us who is God. As we know, as we see this creation and we believe, we have faith that there is a creator who has created this creation, who has created this world. We know there is a creator. We believe by looking at this world that there is a creator. God is that creator or that cause of this srishti, of this creation, who doesn't have another cause upon him. As he is known in the Upanishads, as he is revealed in the Upanishads, he is the causeless cause. He is the ultimate reality. That transcendental reality which is beyond the limitations of time, space and object. That transcendental reality. And that reality is the reality of yourself and the reality of myself. He is the ultimate truth of this entire universe, of anything that exists for that matter. Ishwara is the ultimate reality, the substratum, the transcendental reality. And he is of the nature of completeness, fulfillment, bliss. He is timeless. He is not in the limitation of any kind of change. That is God. Now, this being the nature of Ishwara, this being the nature of God, who is the ultimate changeless and timeless reality, cannot be objectified. Yet we need to see this reality. And how can we see it? This is where the beauty of our Upanishads, of the Vedanta knowledge is seen. That they reveal to us that reality which cannot be objectified by our sense organs, which cannot be objectified by words, and yet they reveal to us through words itself, through the Shabda Pramana, through our knowledge of the Upanishads, that what is this reality? This is the beauty of our scriptures, that they reveal this truth to us. But to see this truth, to be able to realize this truth, to be able to awaken into that state, which is the absolute reality of everything, of you, me, and everything that is. It is not in the disposition of every person, every spiritual seeker also, to awaken into that reality without having a very, very specific mindset for it, without having certain mental aptitude for it, without having certain mental qualities for it. So we cannot, first of all, objectify that reality, and to even awaken into that reality through our discrimination, we need to have a certain mental disposition for it. And to start from there, this is where the scriptures guide us, slowly, step by step. When we have faith that there is a creator, we start from there, that there is a creator who has created this beautiful, amazing world. Now we know that this creation is there. If this creation is there in front of us, and it is a very living creation, it is a very amazingly organized creation, then there has to be a creator. If we see an effect, there has to be a cause behind it. We cannot have an effect without a cause. We see a mobile phone, we cannot expect the existence of the mobile phone to be there without any person who is working as a creator, who has made this technology and who has given this form of instrument to us. So when we see something as an effect, we understand, we infer that there has to be a creator behind it. We cannot have a creation out of non-existence. We cannot have something just, popping up or just coming down like Mr. Bean. So everything that we see, if there is a pot, there has to be a pot maker. If there is a mobile, there has to be somebody who has worked behind it. If we have computers, we have so many kinds of technology. There has to be some mind behind it, some hands behind it who have created, who have brought about this in front of us. So the very first thing that we see, if there is this beautiful creation, there has to be a creator behind it. Now, when we see this creation, we see so many, beautiful things in this creation. That first of all, there is existence. This creation is what we call as existence in form. And at the same time, we also see that this creation is so organized. It's not a haphazard creation, just, made and just left to be taken care of. It's a creation which is created very systematically. Everything is created in a perfect manner. If we look at our body is created in such a perfect manner. We have only 5 fingers and not 10 fingers in one hand. We have 2 hands and not 10 hands. We have 1 face and not 10 faces. So everything that we see, our body, the organs inside the body, everything is created to such a perfection that it should have been just the way it is. And at the same time, we also see that this creation is functioning in such perfection, in such an organized manner. in such a disciplined manner. The sun rises in such a systematic manner. The sun never says, oh, today I'm not in the mood of rising, so let me take a Sunday off. The sun rises in a systematic manner. The earth rotates on its axis in a systematic manner. That is why we can plan our 24 hours of the day. Similarly, we see everything, the stars, the planets, the plants, the trees, the fruits. We don't see, Karela coming out on a mango tree. A mango tree will give mangoes. So we see everything is functioning in such a perfect order. In such a perfect order that we can predict so many things, because we know this is exactly the way things will function in this universe. So we see existence, we see an order in the existence, and we also see that the Creator who has made this beautiful creation and who is sustaining it in such an organized manner, He is also such a compassionate divine being. When we get sunlight, we don't have to pay bills for the sun. We don't have to pay bills for the water that we get from the rivers. We don't have to pay any bills to nature. We have to pay bills for all the technology that is then implemented to use these natural resources. But we don't have to pay bills to God as such, who is giving us the sunlight, who has given us these beautiful hands, these eyes, his nose, his legs, the heart pumping. We don't have to pay any taxes for that. Such is the compassion of God. So when we see this creation, and when we see that there has to be a Creator who is looking after this world in such a beautiful manner, just as we say, if there is a creation, there has to be a Creator, we can also see that if this creation is so perfect and it's functioning in such a perfect order, then the Creator must be all knowledgeable. The Creator must be there, and to have such a good creation, He must be all knowledgeable, He must be all powerful. And at the same time, when we see the compassion of God, the love of God, the blessings that He's showering upon us without wanting anything in return, that's where we see that Ishwara is the all-compassionate one. What the scriptures call as Suhrid, one who is constantly blessing us with something, and yet He expects nothing in return. So Ishwara, as we see the creation and as we see the functioning of our life and this entire creation, we can see Ishwara as the one who is all powerful, all knowledgeable. And as we see the harmony in the whole creation, we can also see that Ishwara is all pervading. He has created this world out of Himself, and He Himself is pervading as the life consciousness in everyone. He's pervading as existence, and He's pervading as blissfulness in all of us. So that is Ishwara, as we see. This is where we start our journey to be able to see the presence of God not as an object, but to see Him as expressing Himself in this entire creation, in this multiplicity of creation, in this total functioning of the creation, in this organization, in His compassion, in His knowledge. In every way, we can see the presence of God in such a divine manner. We talk of seeing the wonders of the world. We talk of the Eiffel Tower, we talk of the Great Wall of China, we talk of the Taj Mahal. But just look at the wonders that God has created Himself out of these 5 elements, out of His Maya Shakti. The wonders that we have, our body, all the beautiful gifts that we are getting from nature, all the different variety of foods, the natural resources, air, water, fire, everything. All these are the wonders of this world. And to be able to see these things in a very sensitive manner is seeing the presence of God in everything. It's like having a divine vision towards the entire creation. We see everything and we take it for granted. We use things, but we take it for granted. We take the sunlight for granted. We take all the natural resources for granted. In fact, such is the problem of human beings, that we take things so much for granted and we see ourselves as the sole enjoyer of this entire creation, that we have absolutely no hesitation, that we have brought this earth to such a ridiculous level that we don't know how long these natural resources will be there to take care of us. We feel that everything's made just for a human being, and we are just trying, to eliminate everything else and just have all the things just for ourselves. This is the problem of a human being. So we tend to take everything for granted. But our spiritual journey of awakening into that Ishwar Darshan is seeing and feeling the presence of God. God is actually the reality of everyone. He is the reality of me. He is my Atma and He is your Atma. That one supreme reality of everyone. But to awaken to that, can we see the presence of God in all these things which are first present around us physically? Can we see that? We have to learn to be sensitive, to see the presence of God in all the things around us and not take them for granted. In all the physical objects, in all the natural resources, in our relationships, in the qualities of people, in everything that we see around us, we live for, in everything. When we shall sensitively be able to see God in everything, then alone we will have a mindset which will be able to realize God as the very own self and the self of everything that exists over here. When we are able to first sensitively see the presence of God as a creator, as a sustainer, as a destroyer of everything around us, then begins a chapter, a very, very important chapter of having and developing a very, very beautiful relationship with God. Before that, our relationship with God was just having faith in God and knowing that there is someone who's created this world, who's taking care of us, and at the most we would go to temples and look up to God whenever we need something or whenever we are in trouble. That is the time when we looked up to God. But now, when we see the presence of God sensitively in everything, when we are actually able to see that there is a creator who has created this beautiful universe and who is pervading in everything, in you and me, then begins a new relationship with God. I don't see myself now as an isolated being, as an individual who wants something just to satisfy the individual self. I now see myself as a part of this divine creator and his creation. I see myself as a part of this cosmic creation which is pervaded by God. I see myself as a part of God. And at the same time, now I start feeling privileged that as I'm the part of God and his beautiful creation, it's my privilege to serve him in the best possible manner I can. Life for me is not just an instrument to fulfill my ego. Life for me is not just an instrument to take care of my physical desires, my sensual desires at every level. But now I see myself as the divine part of this divine creation, and I make myself available to serve God and to serve all the forms of God by seeing him alone in those forms. Thus I become an instrument in the hands of God. Just as we see the flute in Sri Krishna's hands, I also become a divine flute in the hands of God. and let Him play the music He wishes to play out of me. There is a quality of surrender, there is a quality of selfless love, there is a quality of wanting to serve God in every manner that I can. This is the paradigm shift that comes. First, I was living just for myself and seeing myself as an individual entity, just wanting to be for the self. Now I see myself as a part of God, and now I want to live for God out of love for Him. This is the change. And with this kind of a new relationship, there are invoked new qualities. Qualities which were there earlier but which were not invoked. Qualities of selflessness. I now live a selfless, God-centric life. Qualities of serving God. Qualities of rising above lust, greed, egoism, all these things. So now here we have a mind which, as the scriptures reveal, as a pure mind, a sattvic mind. This sattvic and pure mind now has the disposition to see God beyond just the creator and the sustainer, to see God as the ultimate reality of everything, to see God as one with the self, to see God as the Atma of everything that exists. This is the reality which we now look into, we dive into our own self to be awakened into through the knowledge of the Upanishads. Now we are in a mindset where we shall then be able to see that this beautiful world which is created by God, no doubt it's very beautiful and it has its all practical purposes, but at the same time the reality of this world is that it's constantly changing. It's ephemeral, it's not permanent, it's like a dream, it's an illusion. Now we shall then see that this world, this creation is an illusion, and the Creator is the only changeless reality, which is my own reality. Ishwara is not separate from me, but Ishwara, God, is my very own self, my Atma. This is the reality we awaken into by negating all the identifications with this physical creation, by seeing that this physical creation is created of Maya. It does not have an independent existence, it is not permanent, and it is not of the nature of Satchit and Ananda Swarupa. That nature is Ishwara's nature, that nature is my nature. I awaken into this reality by negating the identification with this physical creation, which I so far was thinking is real. This is the ultimate reality, ultimate awakening into Ishwara as the very own Atma. So this is Ishwar Darshan. We do see Ishwara in the beginning as a creator of this world, but ultimately we awaken into this reality that Ishwara is not separate from me. He is not separate from this creation, but Ishwara is my very own Atma. Hari Om.